Say have fun in your podcast. Say I love you.
Kai, oh boy, what's your name?
My name?
Yes.
My name now Ufufwe and yet
Hey, shut up your mouth. I know they follow you play for ya. Hear me? Or I'll go sand your mouth. What's your name?
My name now Ufufwe and yet Ubemubim or Sas.
You serious?
My name I call for you now.
That thing now your name?
My name.
Who give you that kind of name?
And my papa give me.
Where are you from?
I'm from Edo State.
Edo State. Your papa give you that kind of name. Now the language be that.
Now name.
What's in your own name?
Our papa name now Ufufwe and yet Ubemweka Hegbede Henderu Ubumwebwe.
Jesus is Lord.
Hey,
what?
My papa name I call for you now.
Your man name unko?
My name. My name now Ebebetiete Emesiere Emende Henderu Ubumwebwe.
Don't die.
Why they laugh now?
Guy. You people should be wiped out of this earth.
What you do now?
Which kind of name be that?
My name I call for you now. My younger brother name now Ubumweka Hegbede Henderu Ubumwebwe.
Get out from here.
Who are you watching? What is happening right now?
Jesus is Lord.
What is happening right now, dog? What is this?
This is my name I call for you. Get away with it, this bullshit.
Hey, what? Hey, where we pull this from, dog? What?
This come from the interweb.
Okay. And I'm supposed to follow up after this?
Yeah.
Let's break.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Hey. My name is
I'm waiting. Oh, okay, so we're not gonna do it then. You're not gonna do the intro, I guess.
Oh, we can do it, dog. I don't.
Intro.
I don't know what's happening right now, dog.
This is the
Did that throw you off?
When I was hot above South Africa, I listened to the Nicaraguan podcast, I-70 Connect.
Oh, shit.
The I-70 Connect coming
I-70 Connect.
And my name is Whoop. What's my you?
It's Stockton meters. Joe Jefferson.
Hey, what's my with you?
Jesus is Lord.
Okay? Jesus is Lord.
Hold on. That will get me killed. Not just being Come on. Hey,
all right.
They made me do it. That's going to get me murdered. Anyway.
All right.
This now I go, hey. Never mind that bullshit skit you just heard, brought to you by Frank. That is Frank 30 Pieces of AG, up in the basement studios, Topeka. We are Nigga Rock Podcast, I-70 Connect, back at you again. Happy New Year. Since we can't afford a sound machine, or we have a sound machine, but Frank just has bullshit sounds on it, so that's how we do it around this motherfucker. We got my man 30
Shots fired.
I am the KC Store. Got my man 10 meters, Joe Jeff. We all here. We got one AWOL. I don't know if his gout flared up or his old lady said you can't come out to play.
Hey. Easy on the gout talk. Easy on the gout talk.
Oh, is it personal?
Yeah, we have a foundation awareness week about that.
You got gout awareness week?
Yeah, we got a gout awareness week.
Just at your house?
No, it's
What
just it's a thing. It's
the
a thing
fuck
with the
is
Gout
a
Foundation.
Gout Awareness Week?
I see you guys don't
Nigga,
see
the
the.
wicked-
I see you guys don't read the show
weakest shit
notes.
Flare up.
What? Hold on, what?
It's the weakest shit flare up. That's what happened.
All right.
I don't
That's
understand,
the
dog.
gout awareness week. Yeah.
We talked about this gout
ran
shit.
into
You try to clown on people with the gout.
I'm not clowning. I just said, man, she had a flare up, dog. I don't know. Should I say hemorrhoids? The hemorrhoids awareness week next week, nigga? Can I get it in now?
Yeah, that's next week. Yeah, that's next week. Next week is Assholes on Fire Week.
Oh.
Damn.
Ooh, boy.
Wait. Oh, man. Oh, you niggas, stop. God damn it. 2019, we back, man. Took a short breather, took a little break off, so everybody can rest up, be relaxed. Frank was so relaxed, he didn't type up no notes for the show, so we're gonna wing it. I'm joking. But yeah, man. So we're gonna check in real quick. So what's going on, Frank? How you doing, man? I'm sorry. 30 pieces of AG. How you doing, my man?
No, you're right. You were better with Frank. So new year, new me, right? So I went ahead and I didn't want to. I changed my username. Got a hold of it on Twitter and on Instagram. So now I no longer go by 30 pieces of AG or silver. It's just 30 PSS. So that's it. Other than that, it was a good year. How's everybody's week? Or how was the 1 week off unintentionally for you all? How did that go about?
Let's start with you, Tim. Man, just how was your week, man?
My week was okay, man. I just did a lot of self-reflection and realized that, I got some problems, man. I got some issues. Some issues. One issue is that I can't find a decent woman. That's one of which, and I don't know if they're at church or the library, but I got to stop looking at the strip clubs. So basically, that's where I was trying to look for. I thought you could find decent women in the strip club, but apparently you can't do that.
And then you'll get in trouble by saying that there are no decent people at strip clubs because you're there, so you're not a decent person.
Oh well, I am a decent person, of course.
Okay.
Although I like to look at
they're there working hard for their education. You know what I'm saying? So
it can't be education and/or money.
Or money, yeah.
They're trying to better themselves. It's a stepping stone to a career or an acting or professional.
I don't know. It ain't gotta be all that. They could just like stripping. I don't know. Yeah. Well, good luck to you in your endeavors, man. Hopefully you find a good woman, a decent woman.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Hey, what's up with you, Joe? What's going on, man?
Back to the grind, man. Started back to work at the nice little 2 week break. So just doing that. Got back from a little road trip. Got on the plane, that type of thing. So enjoyed my time off.
Good shit. Yeah. And you, Frank, you already said you good. More to add? What's going on? How you been?
No, I mean, I just want to see I just want to ask you how was your time off or your week off? I know you spent it with your daughter, and you shared that on social media with us. So, how was that, man? You know what I mean? Like having her back after going to college and stuff.
Oh, it was good. I mean, spent some time together with her brothers. Went to one of the basketball games. If you saw some of the pictures, it didn't turn out the best for one of the twins. Dislocated his finger, so that was cool. But good that no broken bones. Everything is fine. He should be out there back on the court probably about 2 weeks. Awesome. But as far as my daughter, man, good to have her back home. See that college has not changed her, but has changed her. You can tell that she's more of her own person. She's more, a little more independent, a little more self-assured, a little more confident. Seeing that she's way out in Philadelphia and making it happen on her own, which is a good thing. Man, is that coming through the speakers? Hold on. Did I hear that deep in the speakers?
No.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm not picking it up, so you're good.
It's on my end. So yeah, man, it's just real good to see that you know that a lot of the things that her mother and me, my sisters, my mom, her other grandmother, everybody that you know that played a part in making her the young lady that she is. Those teachers coming through and she's making it happen. Let me see. She hadn't got her grades back yet, but she's probably looking at about 3.8, 3.9 for that first semester. So
it's awesome, man.
And not bad, man. So real proud of her. I mean, she's really for real out there doing it on her own. I think the only time she called me for some funds was to help pay for a plane ticket, which I paid to get her back here for sure. But everything else, man, she's just making it on her own with her little scholarship, her little grant money, saving it, doing what she got to do to make, I shouldn't say do what she got to do, but making sure she's not just spending money like wild recklessly. That way she can make ends meet and be self-sufficient while she's there in Philadelphia. So really proud of her, man. Happy to have her back, even though she leaves me next week. But yeah, that's that.
What's up. That's what's up, man. It's always good, because I mean, on this podcast we had your boy. He was playing high school, and then we're still doing this podcast, and he's out he was in JUCO, and then now he's up in Chicago.
Nah, that Chicago shit didn't work out, so he came back to Topeka. So he's up in Washburn now, going to school, pursuing that MBA. Yep.
Oh, okay. So is he playing ball in Washburn or?
He had to take a semester off because he transferred from another school, but he wasn't released by the other school. And we talked, one of my many rants on here, we talked about how, and Joe can talk about it too, how college athletes are behind these schools and they sign these basically contracts. And even though the school promises you things off paper, when you get there, the promise isn't held up. You're still beholden to that school. So basically, the coach said there would be housing and basically promised things that they couldn't promise. And I was trying to warn him, but I don't think this was right. But hey, these are your choices, man. But I don't think what's being said to you isn't going to happen.
That's interesting.
He had to learn the hard way. The Fat Man Greezy.
So what was the decision? Because he could have gone anywhere. Well, we'll get into that at some other point.
The decision. He's from Topeka, and his mom is still in Topeka, so it's easy to come back, slide with your mom for a minute, and then he got lucky. Cause I told when the shit came clear, I was like, hey man, if you leave now, you can at least roll in Washburn and not miss out on a whole semester of school. You might miss out on playing basketball, but at least if the goal is to get a degree, which you told me that's the goal, we can get you into school and we can get you you're going to miss a semester of college. Can you miss that semester of college, especially at a young age, it just increases the chance that you're not going to get back in school.
Right. Yeah, it's just going to get harder. And I try to tell that to my youngest brother too. It's like, you can make up all the excuses you want now. It's just going to get that much more harder and more difficult to get in. I'm not saying that it's not doable because I did it. You've done it, and so has Anthony.
Yeah, I did. But it took a long time.
Yeah, it's not as easy, and things have to go a certain way, play out a certain way. You know what I mean?
Trust me.
Yeah,
it's a work in progress, bro.
It is. I did my master's online. That was, bro. I wanted to quit every day. I legit told my teachers, just tell me to quit, and I will quit. I won't put any effort into it no more. And sure enough, they gave me a chance. And when somebody believes in you and gives you a push, then it's kind of hard to, give up. You know what I mean? So anyhow, so I like that motivation they gave me. Anyhow, so a lot has been happening the last couple of weeks. We have several stories. We try to narrow it down to some of the ones that we want to at least try to tackle on this episodes. So one of the topics, the first topic that unless anybody else have anything to add over the holiday season or anything like that they want to share.
I'm good. Stories. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year to everybody.
Cool. Joe?
Play ball. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
All right. And so we're going to get into the first topic. And that being said, we're going to play one of my favorite clips. No, not my favorite clip, but one of my favorite shows and a clip from it that is relevant today as it was back then in 2005. If it plays.
Hey! with you people? Every famous nigga that gets arrested is not Nelson Mandela? Yes, the government conspires to put a lot of innocent black men in jail on fallacious charges. But R. Kelly is not one of those men. We all know the nigga can sing. But what happened to standards? What happened to bare minimums? You a fan of R. Kelly? You want to help R. Kelly? Then get some counseling for R. Kelly. Introduce him to some older women. Hide his camcorder. But don't pretend like the man is a hero. And stop the damn dancing. Act like you got some goddamn sense, people. Damn. Don't playing around here.
Anyhow, so just with all this stuff going on with R. Kelly, I came across this clip from the Boondocks. That was in 2005. We're in 2019 now, and this
but let's remember that was 2005. When did that piss tape drop though?
I could look that up.
Yeah.
You got Google it.
It was
Like
over
2000,
then,
2001 when
it
that piss tape dropped.
Yeah.
So it was recorded before then. It was like 2001, bro, when that piss tape.
Right. Exactly. Because
it's relevant because niggas was still saying in 2016 when niggas that I know went to this motherfucker's concert when he came to Kansas City and packed that motherfucking concert arena, dog. Now all of a sudden these same niggas mad.
Well, he sold out a show. He sold out a show this week, didn't he?
Well, in Kansas City?
No. This week it was celebrating his birthday.
In America, though.
No, in America, yeah. But I was speaking specifically to motherfuckers who are on my Facebook feed, who are my friends, who I know for a fact went to this nigga's concert in 2016. That's why I'm like, what new information came out between 2016 and this documentary that you niggas now mad about?
Right.
That's why I was just amazed. Like, ain't that new came? Only thing new came out is now you have faces to match with the motherfuckers he's been pissing on.
Right. That's the only new. That's the only new aspect of it, because now we can see who exactly were the victims of man's debauchery. Because god damn, shit. All I could do is before, I used to love R. Kelly. I ain't gonna lie, I was a fan. I was a diehard fan. Up until the allegations started coming out, and then things started to kind of ring true.
So when did you stop listening?
Huh?
When did you stop listening?
I ain't gonna lie. Look, hold on.
What'd you say?
All right, let the man speak. Let the man speak before I mute people.
So I stopped listening to his music back in 2000. No bullshit. All bullshit aside, 2016. I haven't really listened to his music after that, but it was 2016. Okay.
I guess.
Let me tell you, it was denial. It was motherfucking denial, because I was like, I'm hearing the rumors. I'm thinking these are rumors, but goddamn, there's too many rumors that sound the same. Him pissing on this little girl.
Even the piss thing. So when the thing came out about him marrying a 15-year-old,
right?
What about
he married
that?
Aaliyah.
He married. That was the
rumor.
14 years. I think she was 14 at the time when she married.
15. She was 15.
14.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. Shit, she was underage.
I just want, but not even technically. At that point in time, if he had came to the state of Kansas, he could have married her. I mean, he could have married her no problem. They would not have to forge a document.
Yeah.
No,
up until 2000, I think like 5 or 6 in the state of Kansas, as long as you have parental consent, you can marry a 14-year-old.
Right. Correct.
But which is fucking sad. But we don't talk about that.
It is sad.
I think Missouri, from what I hear, is a state with the lowest legal marriage rate, where you don't need a parent's signature, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know.
It's like 15 or 16, something like that.
It's 16, I think.
Like that.
I think it's 16.
It's below it's like you can't sign a legal document, but you can sign this legal document, huh?
Yeah, you can sign a marriage document.
Right.
But you can't enter in the contract. But isn't a marriage certificate a contract?
Hold on. We trying to get out. So 2016, bro.
Yeah. 2016. I ain't gonna lie. 2016 is the time I let.
But the nigga's music ain't that good. It's not that great. To me, it's not that great. And on top of that, like when I hear women say how good of a singer he is, I'm like, the nigga. I mean, it's catchy. The beats are catchy.
And I think that's what it is. And you know what?
So you don't like I Believe I Can Fly?
Fuck that song.
I think I Believe I Can Fly is like it's like it sounds inspirational.
Right, dude, that is fucking predatorial.
And all this shit like that though. But once again, I have never thought that R. Kelly was a great singer. I thought that he had
so you talking about like on a personal level, like you were just saying,
not
like,
a great singer.
He was not a great singer. Okay.
But I have a list of singers that I think they aren't great singers, but they have good lyrics. Raphael Sadiq, not a great singer, good lyrics, great with the instruments, great with shit like that. Who's somebody?
I agree.
Fucking Carl Thomas, not a great singer, but has good lyrics and good beats.
Yeah,
he has a couple of good joints too. Yeah,
his first album still a penny dropper, dog, but he's not a great singer. I wish I never met a nigga. Woo, niggas still get tears.
Yeah,
who going through divorce still might cry at that motherfucker, dog.
But here's the thing, though, Stork. R. Kelly is probably not a good vocalist. I would say, but he was a pretty decent at best producer. He produced the likes of music for countless people. Like he produced some stuff for what Marcus Houston.
So he put his he had
definitely Sparkle.
Ronald Isley, all that shit like that. They had Mr. Big and all that shit. He brought that nigga back into prominence. All that shit. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So he made a contribution, a huge contribution to the R&B world and music world too. Is that what you're saying? No, I'm talking about Anthony.
Yeah, and I get that too. But then when you start equating his lyrics, the things that he was singing about with his allegations and shit, then it makes your stomach cringe, man. I mean, it makes you cringe at the shit he was saying.
I always know he's been singing to young women, young girls from the get-go. Nothing about his music is adult.
Right. I understand that. I understand that wholeheartedly.
I mean, outside of dealing with an adult topic, i.e., fucking whatever, being promiscuous, whatever, but dealing with it in a very high school way.
But yes, right, and I agree with that. And even in his moniker, the Pied Piper of R&B. God damn.
Like when I saw that shit though, but even when you saw that shit, that niggas still fuck with it.
Yeah, and see, which I don't understand. Come on now. I mean, what fucking person has to be that damn blind to know that this motherfucker?
Hold on. What I'm saying, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Joe has something to say.
What nigga has to be this blind 15 years after the fact when you were still bumping R. Kelly CDs?
Listen, Joe. Listen, Joe. Listen, Joe. Okay, yeah, that is I ain't gonna lie, that is the pot called the Kettle Black. Listen, when he dropped, what was it, Black Panties? I think that was the name of the album. I had to take a listen to it. I had to take a good, because see, the thing is, I'm into music. I'm into all types of music and everything like that. And when he dropped that sounded pretty good to me. Not so much the lyrics, but then the beats and the production of the music. But
hold on, no. But what I'm saying is why? But I'm gonna say is why even go listen?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it. It's like
you shouldn't.
I don't like. And I was. It was a thing to fuck with ADA because we were watching because like we said we're gonna sit down and watch this shit over Skype, right? So I was like, okay. Nigga, I literally cut some holes in some socks and wrapped them around my head like I was the Pied Piper, and I had and this is like since 2001 or 2. This is the last time a nigga has ever played in R. Kelly. This is when I
when the piss tape came out.
When I searched R. Kelly, dog, I did not know this nigga still had that many albums post 2000 like fucking 12 or 14, nigga. I'm like, how?
Yeah,
How?
he had a big release with Jay-Z too. So
Yeah.
Jay-Z's been real quiet lately.
Best of
Yeah,
both worlds.
two of them.
That's
Yeah,
the
two
best
of
of
them. Yeah.
Two.
Yeah, two of them?
Two
Yeah,
of them.
two albums with Jay-Z, yeah.
Yeah. That nigga,
Oh,
that
yep.
not
Unfinished business.
No, how can niggas fuck with that nigga after that not guilty shit, dog? Me, Kelly.
Yeah,
Like,
'cause
he
it
basically
was-
laughing at niggas, dog.
Because 2002 is when 2002
And-
Best of Both Worlds dropped, and 2004
Yeah.
Unfinished Business dropped.
Right.
Right.
What's the other?
And Stork, yeah, I agree with you, man. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that part. You know, that's how this motherfucker is still producing.
Dog,
albums,
Trap in the
still
Closet
making
came out?
money after these fucking allegations.
Because people say, let me go listen to this song.
It's denial. It's fucking
but-
denial, dog.
I love you, Pimp, but you you were part of the problem.
I was. I'm reformed.
I know you reformed, I'm saying, but you asking how, and I'm like, well, because niggas say, I need to go listen to this song.
Hold
Yeah.
on, Anthony. I gotta ask you this question, and everybody else kind of be quiet for a little bit and let the men speak, and don't interrupt them neither. Anthony, are you reformed because you feel the pressure of the Stork and our professor, our in-house professor, giving you the pressure?
No.
Or are you genuinely like, yo, I see all this stuff and I came to the final conclusion, even though it's a little late, but I finally came to it.
Okay. Let me put it to you this way, and I think y'all could appreciate this. When the allegations, this is kind of like getting off the subject slightly, but it's kind of relevant. So when all the allegations of Bill Cosby came out, you know, that's when I said, oh, you know what? I hate this motherfucker. You know, for doing all the shit he did to women, all the shit that Bill Cosby did to all the women and all that stuff and all his allegations. I'm like, you know,
Well, right,
Bill
but
Cosby is trash. But
you immediately
Let me
stopped fucking
finish,
with Bill
though.
when you heard that. My bad.
yeah, when I heard all these allegations and everything like that, I stopped fucking with Bill. Now, on the R. Kelly tip, yeah, I did hear about the allegations, but I treated them as rumors, okay? Up until and after the piss tape came out and after, you know, all of these women coming forward.
Wait.
Y'all gonna make me use this mute button, dog.
Wait.
Hit the mute button, man.
How did you treat the Aaliyah shit as a rumor? That shit was confirmed like a motherfucker, man.
So here's
He
the
married
thing.
a teenager in public knowledge, nigga. How you treat that shit as a rumor?
I treated it as a rumor because, you know, I wasn't sure, man. It was denial. It was denial. Okay, no. It was denial. I admit that shit. It was fucking denial. I denied the fact that all this shit because the music was good.
I'm about to say, just say like you liked him. He was one of your favorites as far as music went. So you excuse the shit, dog. That's all you got to say, bro.
Yeah, and I excuse. I blocked that shit out my mind up until
so you could dance.
You was swept up by the Pied Piper, man.
By the Pied Piper, dog. Hey, the mass work, nigga. Now I know somebody celebrating their birthday tonight.
Yeah.
What are you?
Oh, man.
Let them
I was
talk.
out here two in the name of love, nigga.
Hey,
No.
dog,
Okay.
I know Frank be on Twitter too. And all you niggas on Twitter, dog. I don't know if y'all saw that one tweet. Some nigga said, "Well, now we canceling R. Kelly. what we supposed to electric slide to?" And somebody replied, "The electric slide, nigga," and moved on. Dog. Like, nigga, what are you talking about? What we supposed to electric slide to, nigga? The actual electric slide song?
Yeah, try that one.
No.
Try that one, nigga.
You can try the bus stop. Because since the electric slide is from the bus stop.
The electric slide without all the child rape.
Right.
And see, folks, I want you guys to appreciate that we're having a conversation about R. Kelly, and we're not down each other's throats right now, not yet. You know what I'm saying? So
What's coming?
Hey, I'm drinking, nigga. So
I don't know, dog. I'm just saying, like, Andy, my man, 10,000 grand, dog. But it's like,
I think we discussed it on.
You yada 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 shit out of that piss tape, out of that Leah shit.
Let me tell you something about the piss tape because I never saw the piss tape.
Bullshit.
I never saw it, and I don't want to see that shit because I know there's a fucking 14-year-old child on that shit, and I do not condone.
Allegedly.
But if you knew it though, but you kept listening to the music.
Dog, man, I'm telling you why. I never saw the tape.
He was one of your favorites.
He was one of my favorite artists.
And it goes to something that Winston always talks about. It's the reference, like, hey.
When I saw all of the allegations that
Joe's drinking.
About it every night.
Come on, Joe. But when
I wanna piss on a child anyway.
I did not.
I believe I can fly.
Buy my shit.
I believe I can touch the sky. Every night and day.
I don't care about no black women. I don't care about no black women.
But the black women still captured by this motherfucker.
Yeah.
It don't matter though, dog. It don't matter though. It's like but like it's the same. Like me and James talked about it like on one of my posts. It's like we niggas are fucking victim beholden to this old fucking style of teaching where we all done had grandmothers, mothers, old aunties that say these fast ass black women, these fast ass black girls, and they put it all on these girls while letting these men slide. So the women who grow up in these homes too are also beholden to that teaching too.
I understand that too. Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Dog. It's a sickness.
It is a sickness. It's I believe it is a sickness because, it's not these girls, man. I mean, these little girls out there, they're pretty much innocent, man. It's these fucking slick talking ass niggas out there that's trying to entice these little girls to come on there, and
Dia, I don't know Dia. I know he didn't say it, but he posted on Instagram said there ain't no fast ass girl fast enough to get away from an old ass nigga that want to fuck her.
Exactly.
So you got you got to have a mindset to want to fuck a child, dog.
Yeah.
Like even like dog, when I was like 25, 26, even then, dog, I wasn't trying to fuck with no 18-year-olds. It's like you don't talk right. A nigga done been around the world. Nigga done been deployed. I done been to some different things, talked to some different people. I ain't saying that you're stupid or dumb, but you ain't talking shit that I want to talk about.
Right.
So even technically, if I fuck you, it's above board. But after we get done fucking, what we gonna talk about? We ain't got nothing to talk about. So why am I even fucking with you? So here you got a 27. What was he? 28 when he married Leah.
I think he was like I don't think he was quite 30 yet. Yeah. He
was 27, 28 when he married a 15-year-old, bro. What the fuck that look like? And then you have all these fucking adults around. That's the reason why I'm like, I know everybody ain't gonna watch, but like that like you know about it. But when you see how all these adults allow this shit to happen with this child, all because they were getting a piece of that cheese, dog. They were getting a piece of that cake. Like the one dude who the bodyguard who knew about it. There was some old, I think it's the old dude who his, I don't know if he was head of security, whatever the fuck. This nigga literally said in the same episode, you watched it, like in the first part, he was like, "Oh man, I couldn't believe this, man. I didn't want to believe that R. Kelly was fucking with Leah. She's a child." But then 30 minutes later in the same episode, they talking about, "Yeah, I was there when they got married, and Leah was crying, and I want to talk to her." I'm like, "Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about?"
All right.
Somebody got to say, "Hey man, what the fuck are we doing?"
Yeah. Somebody got to raise their hand, stand up, and say, "What the fuck are we doing here?"
And on the same hand, you my man 20 grand. Somebody got to say, "We shouldn't listen to this nigga's music."
Yeah, we shouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like when people joke about it and say, "Oh man, this like, we shouldn't be digesting this nigga's music."
No,
but Spotify
on a certain level, you're enabling this type of behavior, not just to him, but other motherfuckers. He ain't the only nigga trying to fuck teenagers because they easy prey. They easy prey, and you got to protect, whether it's a teenage boy or girl. We got to protect them, dog. They easy fucking prey. They're not thinking about tomorrow. They just thinking, oh, this old nigga, this old woman likes me and finds me attractive, so I must be special. When they don't fuck about them. Go ahead, I'm my bad.
Even better. Even to put I wouldn't say better, but even to put more of a spin on them. You know, you got this old nigga who is famous. This old nigga that's famous, that makes money, that's into the business, and I want to get into the business. You know, he can get me there.
Yeah,
you know,
but now that's
and that's
what
this nigga was doing.
But now that's being used against them. Now you have fucking adults saying, "Well, these young girls, those girls knew what they were doing. They wanted to get into the business. They wanted to do R. Kelly." And it's like, even if that's true, why didn't the adult R. Kelly or the other adults who are around R. Kelly who knew he had this fucking sickness that he had, why didn't somebody say, yeah, you ain't that good, and all he want to do is fuck you?
Right.
Very simply, dog. Very simply. And let's not forget, like, if you watch it, Sparkle, like, them first couple episodes, I hated her. Of course, I hated R. Kelly, but I hated her the most, dog, because she had all that access, all that knowledge of R. Kelly, what he was. She even told the story, dog, of, I don't know if you watched it. You watched it. She told the story of when she was at his house, right, watching the game or some shit.
Yeah,
and
shit.
Yeah, and she was hearing this knock coming from somewhere, and she's like, "Hey, where's that knock coming from?" And at first, R. Kelly ignored it. Yeah. And then she heard the knock again, and she was like, "Hey, you gonna? What's that knock?" He's like, "Oh, that's my wife. That's the what's her name? Whatever, Miss Kelly. I don't know her first name." But the woman he had all children.
Andrea
Kelly. All the woman he had all children with. Like, oh, that's my wife. His wife had to ask permission to come out of whatever room or dungeon she was in to get a fucking sandwich, dog. Let me tell you something, dog. I love Frank, dog. Like, if Frank my nigga, dog. If Frank was like, I'm in trouble, you need to come and kill somebody to get me out of trouble, I'm coming. If I go to Frank's house, dog, and Jamie is locked up in the basement and gotta ask permission to come get a fucking sandwich, I can't fuck with him no more, dog, on any kind of basic human level. But Sparkle was like, no, not only did Sparkle keep fucking with him,
fucking with him.
She sacrificed that 14-year-old girl to this nigga. She knew she had all this access, saw all this fucking and everything else going on in the studio, and she still brought her 14-year-old niece to this nigga, dog.
Wait, hold on. They met when she was 12.
Oh, 12. I'm sorry, but 14 is when all the shit was happening.
Yeah, all shit happened when she was 14, but met the poor girl at 12, dog.
12. And then he had this 12. I don't know if she was 13 or I don't know if she was 13 or 14 when they was talking about they was having slumber parties at the studio and shit like that. Mm. And you knew all this shit. I'm like, I definitely hate that nigga, but bitch, I definitely hate your ass too. You can get in the same bushes down to set on fire as this nigga.
Wait, I don't know how far you got, man, but all of these.
We got 2 more episodes, though.
Okay, so I don't know how. I don't know if you've seen
Here's
this.
the thing, Anthony. Though I know all the shit. Like Joe was saying when we was talking about our chat group, ain't no new information. It's just new niggas coming out trying to. All what's happening is niggas knew this shit was about to come out when Dream Hampton said, "I'm about to fucking put this documentary out." And the only thing that's happening is now niggas trying to get their story out so they can separate themselves from this nigga and say, "Hey, I told the truth." But nigga, where you been for the last 20 years?
Yeah, why didn't you defend these people? Why didn't you defend these girls, man?
Because people enable it. People say, "Hey, I got to listen to Black Panties."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, dog. When you go, I'm not trying to put you on blast, dog. But when you go listen to that shit, when you excuse that shit, you enable the shit. Yeah. I ain't saying you on the level. I'm not saying you on the level with them, but in a way, you condone and enable by supporting a motherfucker who fucks 14-year-old children, bro. That's all I'm saying.
And by not saying, and you do the same. I think you do the same thing if you stay quiet and don't say anything. I would say this. There's a lot of things that you know in the last decade or so, probably a little more than a decade, has come to light to me, and paid my ear to it more, and so I knew about the piss test. I knew about all that stuff. I don't really bump any R. Kelly songs. I don't really recall like the last time. I don't know exactly when was the last time I played an R. Kelly song, but it's been a while. I would have to say maybe when that Jay-Z first album dropped, maybe I was on that for a little bit. Because again, it was
Jay-Z's
just the
first
hot,
album?
the Jay-Z and his album in 2002.
The Best of Both Worlds.
Yeah,
shit,
like I might have been bumping some of that club shit, the club bangers, but you're right. I didn't really have it. I didn't have that his allegations because even in 2002, I should have been aware of the Aaliyah incident. I should have been aware of like all the other allegations. Even at the bare minimum, it was suspect. You know what I mean? He was a suspect type nigga. So, I mean, I don't really fuck with him. I know you guys joke about Drake and them, and Drake is on that watch list right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so many other artists too, not just
but never
musicians.
forget though, not just that concert we talked about on the show last year. This nigga sending the motherfucking text messages to that girl from Stranger Things. Bro.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I didn't know about that until I think.
Oh God, she's number 15. You talking about 11?
The 11, yes,
yeah.
nigga. Like
nigga, 15 years old, dog.
What grown nigga? I wish one of my daughter's friends, and she's in college, nigga, would hit me up talking about some relationship advice. I'd be like, you get the fuck off my phone.
Yeah.
But hold on. Don't they have what? James posted something about he's 31 and he like literally dating an 18-year-old right now, ain't he?
He was dating was it not Quincy Jones? Who was it? It was some famous producer's daughter or granddaughter or some shit like that, dog. Yeah. It's an 18-year-old chick, but he was like, I don't want to say fucking with her, like fucking her, but definitely some grooming type shit going on before she turned 18.
Right.
I'm saying to you that he's 31.
The nigga suspect.
That's just suspect.
The nigga suspect.
Look,
but that goes back to me though. Like as a 30-year-old dog, I have nothing to do with an 18-year-old except for my daughter. If I got to pick her friends up to take them somewhere while she's in town from college, dog. That is it. That is all.
Right.
Yeah.
Like nigga, like I'm a medical professional, bro. I get weird when we gotta do procedures on young girls.
Yeah.
If it could be helped, I'd rather have the female nurses and technicians come in there and strip them down, put all the patches and shit on them. If it can be helped, but if it can't be helped, I'll do it. But
we ain't got but one female.
Talk about when we was at KU. Like, we were at KU.
Okay.
We get Angie, Keita, all them coming in. Hey man, you're 18 years old. Come here and help her out, man. That way she ain't got to feel weird, and I ain't got to feel weird.
Exactly. I feel you.
And I get it. It's like it ain't no big deal to do it, but it's like But it's like as a father of an 18-year-old, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's get some women in here so she won't feel nervous. She already about to get.
She's already having the procedure, right?
Yeah. Right. Let's help her feel better. But anyway, Joe, what you saying, dog? 31 to 18, nigga. What the fuck we doing?
Yeah. Drake.
Why are we texting a 14-year-old on top of that?
Yeah, Drake's on a. He has to be on someone's watch list. Like,
gotta be.
I mean, and I mean, I'm fucking with you guys. Obviously, I'm more aware and attuned to more hip to the game now because I'm gonna be honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
telling you right now though. If you have a little girl, dog, your motherfucker, nigga, your eyes gonna be.
Yeah.
No, I believe that.
Hey, nigga. Hey. That's as she get a little older, the 10, 12, 14, them little buzz start button, nigga.
Yeah.
You get little young girl hips on them, nigga. You start seeing these old ass niggas look at your baby girl some kind of way. I done been places, dog, where I just like, what the fuck you looking at, dog?
Yeah. And what talking about young having a young girl. Even though I found this on Instagram, I'm not sure that way you are. Even regardless of whether you believe or not, don't believe what's happening in this docuseries or whatever place you're in, here we have his own daughter breaking silence and condemning her dad and basically saying that while she was abused or maybe not physically but like mentally and verbally, there was things that happened in her household to her mom. You know what I'm saying? So the pattern was already there. and you mentioned it earlier, and I'm not giving anybody an out or anything by this, but you mentioned it earlier, like the sickness. I don't know if you meant that like as a pun or as an adjective or whatever, whatnot, but I was listening to another podcast and straight up, this guy does have a sickness. It is a disease that he has.
But also, I mean, I'm not making excuses for him, but it can't. We start talking about like when we talk about abuse, cycle of abuse, and all shit like that. It can't be like just pushed aside that he also was sexually abused.
Right. Yeah, I think the docuseries starts with that. I think.
It talks about it, but I'm not making excuses for him at all because, like,
right? No. And what I'm saying is like that. Just
a small bit of self-disclosure here. I was sexually abused as a child. I didn't grow up with fucking kids.
No. I get that. No, I understand that.
But I'm saying though, it's like, it can't be erased that in our homes, especially black communities, dog. Well, I don't can speak. I'm sure it happens in white communities, but I don't know about the black community. We can't make it this crazy taboo thing where we're not talking about it. Where you know that your niece is being fucking touched or whatever, but we breaking bread with the same motherfucker at the dinner table that may or may not be touching her. Right. You put that shit on blast, call niggas and put them out, dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no. I guess I was just wanted to point out that when you said sickness, I don't know how you meant it. But it just brought up the point
it's sickness as in not normal, dog.
Right.
It's not normal. It's not normal for a man to lust and want after a child.
Yeah, right. For me, it was it just spurred that thought going back, and they were talking about that because you have pedophilia, which is that into little children or young children or whatever. But then I just found into this one, which is what Ephedophilia. Which is specifically
the teenagers, because for pedophilia, I think the cutoff is like 12 or some shit like that.
Right. But see, I didn't know that. I thought pedophilia covered like that whole thing.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No, because what we were talking about earlier, you start getting into consent laws, right? So legal definitions of whatever can't collide. So if in a state, if I'm 14, I can be legally married, it can't be pedophilia, right?
Well, yeah. Right. Basically what I wanted to say is just like, while all this shit is horrific and horrible and really, but there is also a sickness out there too. I mean, fuck what he did, and it doesn't excuse anything. But there is a clinically diagnosed and clinically disordered. I don't know. I mean, I just ran across that. I just thought that was interesting. Especially like in our communities, we don't talk about these things. So how can we, like, at 35, I just came to find out this word and disorder, you know what I mean? And without actually talking with you guys, we don't talk about this in our communities. We don't talk about this shit. We remain hushed all the time.
Even though with all our fucking technology, with all our fucking pornography in the palms of our hands, dog, we still treat sex and sexuality as this very taboo subject. Right. That's what happens, though. So if something that is very basic and needed for our fucking existence is sex is a fucking thing that we have to do to keep going. If it's treated as taboo, no one's going to talk about it. No one's going to talk about it, bro. Whether it be you fucking a child, whether it be you fucking your wife, whether it be your fucking teenage son or daughter having very consensual sex with their high school love, no one talks about it because we treat it as a very taboo subject. So it's this thing that we notice happening all around us because it has to be happening because there are fucking billions upon billions of fucking human beings walking the planet, but we don't talk about what brought them here.
But see, Stork, that's American society, man, as a whole. We don't anything that is taboo, we don't discuss it. We think.
Well, no, I get that, but I'm saying. Right. Yeah, I get that. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that's how we arrive at places where your own children won't come and tell you that someone is touching them because you made them and their body and their growth and their sexuality to be this thing that's disgusting and dark and taboo and something that should never be talked about.
Yeah, and that's one thing that as far as adults and responsible people is to enlighten them, I would say. And what I mean by enlightening, I mean by informing them that, certain behaviors is wrong. And
But you can't
also.
But you can't just talk about what's wrong. You have to also.
You also got to you also got to show them what's right, what's appropriate. And that when you get to a certain age or get into a certain maturity level, I wouldn't even say age, a maturity level, you're going to come in contact with certain events or certain, things, sexually or whatever. And, they have to learn somewhere. And I would rather people, learn it in-house and under responsibility versus learning it on their own and not knowing, what is right and what is wrong. Because see, one thing, I have a gang of nieces and nephews. I have I have like 15 nieces and nephews or whatever, and the nieces outweigh the nephews, and I love each and every one of them the same. And if anything come to harm of them, I'm like I'm within the family. I'm like kind of like the bulldog of the family. But I would think that their parents are responsible for enough to teach them what is right and what is wrong, whether someone addresses them appropriately or not.
But not even about right or wrong though. Like a lot of, I won't say, just simple talk, like what Frank is talking about. Just simple talks about like sex in general. Right. Just talking about sex.
Right, breaking the stigma early on.
Now, not talking about right or wrong, because what happens? Because like, as you mature, as we all mature, we all have our kinks, our whatever we're into, whatever we don't want to. In between two consenting adults, there is no real right or wrong when it comes to sex, right? So when you sex as black, that's where you kind of get in trouble with, right? So just instead of just talking about just sex and letting children know that your child or your teenagers know that it's okay to come to me and talk about these feelings you're having, we're more or less saying that we're just shutting it all down. We're just hoping that our children, we're hoping and praying that our children never have sex until they meet that one person that makes them feel special and they get married, even though none of us on here did that.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'm glad that. And I'm glad that we discuss it. And I think this show has done a good job of trying to tackle some of these topics, and also trying to open up the communication barrier and encourage the communication within our communities ourselves, not just us, but in our communities, everyday dealings. And the R. Kelly situation, to be honest, is just, it's not. I'm not gonna say it's developing, because it's been developed. It's just a matter of like what's gonna happen now when, we're in the modern era. Of the information now. You see Kevin Spacey went to court. You see Bill Cosby went and got accused and got found guilty. You have the other big wig, the Weinstein. So and we're in this era of the Me Too moment too. So maybe now there's gonna be momentum to push to get this man the justice.
We'll see. But I also want to say though, like, I know we got to move on. I think we covered this.
Yeah, we could just do like final thoughts real quick. What are your final thoughts on R. Kelly situation, Stork?
Right. I would just say that everything we talked about, you got to be careful, Mejia. These niggas out here, because we talked about it before, dog. There's a lot of niggas out there who don't want justice. They won't be white men. Right. So you hear a lot of people talking about, well, there's no documentary about Harvey Weinstein, even though I think BBC did a 6-part documentary, and then there's no documentary on fucking old rapey ass what's the nigga that married his stepdaughter or whatever the fuck? Woody Allen. And Elvis Presley, and all this other shit that no one ever gave about. But all of a sudden, in order to defend R. Kelly, we'll bring up these white men. Because once again, that niggas don't want justice. Niggas want to be white men. So be leery of all. If you got niggas around you just bringing up these topics or using that as a yada yada yada, what about this white man? Be leery of leaving your children alone with these niggas. Yeah, that's my last thought on that.
What about you, Anthony? I know, you got a lot going on. So final thoughts on the R. Kelly. We're going to revisit this topic down the road. So Go ahead.
Well, my whole thought is, watch your kids. Basically, just keep your kids safe. Away from these predators. Going forward, because they're out there. Even if you want to try to break into show business and everything, it's not a cut and dry situation. You got to be leery of all these predators that's trying to take advantage of the young and the innocent. Bottom line. Yeah. That's my final thoughts.
And we also have Joe on here. Joe, I know you've been kind of quiet for the latter part of this conversation. Any thoughts? Any final things you want to chime in on before we move on to the next topic?
R. Kelly has been a pedophile for a long time. We've known that, and people have just found whatever reason they want to find to listen to his music and patronize him and his shows and everything like that. And I think, people just need to grow up. That's all I got, man.
All right, and with that, we'll just move on to our next topic. So I think was it Joe that introduced or put this meteorologist? Talking about we have a topic of
and I swear to God, I be seeing shit on Twitter, and then I love y'all because then 2 minutes later, not 2 minutes, but sometime in that day, one of my niggas will repost this in the our chat group.
What's that?
Yeah. Anything like this shit here. I saw it on Twitter, and I think literally 30 minutes or an hour later, either Joe or James posted shit in our chat group.
And so I think Joe, is this the one that you posted about the meteorologist?
Yeah. So I was watching. I was on Facebook, and I think he was on Don Lemon, and basically Don Lemon had kind of given him a pass. Basically, what had happened was he was doing a broadcast for, I guess, the local news. He's a meteorologist in New York somewhere, and he had a slip of the tongue. And so, as journalists, everybody kind of understood, hey, he had a slip of the tongue, but there was kind of questions like, have you heard this before? Have you said this before? And so, basically, I was like, okay, well, what did he say? Because they were kind of talking around the point, but they didn't really get to what he said. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, all right, well, let me go see if I can find another clip that gives me explicitly what was said. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and play it because you can. I think if you listen to the clip, you can kind of hear what he said. But
okay, I'm gonna play the clip now.
Says this was his worst nightmare. It was an honest flub that he says he mixed words during his forecast by simply talking too fast. Well, now he's fighting back against those who say otherwise.
It's a nice day when you...
A typical day at the office, gone terribly, terribly wrong.
It's the way it looked out at Martin Luther King Jr. Park.
Jeremy Capel, the chief meteorologist at NBC affiliate WHEC in Rochester, New York, was trying to pronounce the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he seemed to utter a racial slur that has historically been used towards black people.
Clear, calm, and cooling.
Capel says he stumbled in speaking quickly, combining King and Junior, and didn't realize what that sounded like to some.
Two words mashed together incorrectly. What I said was not even a word, it was a sound. And people, I believe, read into that.
Nobody addressed the slip-up on air when it happened Friday. But after outrage grew online over the weekend, late Sunday, the station fired Capel.
Meteorologist Jeremy Capel is no longer with News 10 NBC.
Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren saying station management only took action after the station was shamed into doing so by a backlash on social media. Capel and his wife Lisa released an apology on Facebook.
But there was no malice.
For him to be called a racist, it's just, it makes me very sad. I was sickened. We teach our children the message of loving others.
And while critics online are calling Capel's mistake both racist and willful, he's also receiving a wave of support.
All right, that's enough. I mean,
okay.
we don't need to talk about it.
Rewind it back, dog. I want to hear it again, dog. I want to hear it again, dog. Not the whole thing.
Martin Luther King.
I got to turn it up, bro. Hold on, Andy. Hold on. Let me hear it, dog.
Oh, it's a nice day when you...
A typical day at the office, gone terribly, terribly wrong.
It's the way it looked out at Martin Luther King Jr. Park.
Jeremy Capel, the chief meteorologist at NBC affiliate WHEC.
All right. Let Joe speak. Go ahead, Joe.
I mean, you heard it.
Hey, this is the first nominee. I'm nominating this as the we ain't shit. The we ain't shit moment right here, though. Because we all laugh. Because we all laugh.
Nah, that's ain't it.
This is a racist getting his motherfucking just due, nigga.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about what he said. I'm not talking about what happened to him.
Let me say this thing.
Go ahead.
Let me say this about it, though.
Go ahead.
So, Martin Luther King's daughter came out on the subject, and she backed up the meteorologist, saying that it was a flub. You know what I'm saying? So there was no malice of forethought. There was no intention of doing that. Saying that, he definitely should have got up and apologized, as he did. So like I said, I listened to him apologize on Don Lemon, but I think he apologized on the network, and but then he still got fired. So, I mean, I put it this way. I mean, we live in a society which is kind of scary, because if you make any mistake, whether that be intentional or unintentional, you definitely stand to lose your job. So, I mean, I think it's a difficult situation. I put it this way. I don't think this is the same thing as the issue we had last Martin Luther King holiday. Last year, we were listening to the workers down in Oklahoma, and they were saying the same thing or something very similar about Martin Luther King. Nigger off there, whatever they call it. Did they email it too?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember, but it's not the same.
It's not the same thing. I feel like this dude basically just had a bad day at work. And I would like to think that it was an accident, but I mean, you never know. But at the same time, I don't think it was.
Where's that coon come from, though?
Well, if you do say it fast and you're not really thinking about the contents that you're saying in, I can kind of see.
Hold on. Well, my man said he mixed up
Junior.
He mixed up
King.
Junior and King.
Yeah. So June and Coon rhyme. So if you're trying to say Junior and that sound rhymes, and the King and the Coon have the same kind of alliteration.
That's a lot of explanation. Hey, that's a lot.
It is preaching.
That's a lot. That's a lot of ball right there, though, nigga. That's a lot of ball, nigga.
That is preaching.
That is ugly. It's ugly. I don't have a reason not to believe him.
Yeah. I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it was intentional either. But
go ahead, Winston. Your turn.
It sounded like he was.
I'm hearing what they're saying now, and given the fact that because if he had been had previous incidents or especially with social media, nigga would have been on there wild, blatant, all that shit would have Black Twitter CSI would have been, all them receipts would have been on deck already.
Right.
So it's not.
And here's the other thing about that. So as I was listening to Lemon and they talked about it, basically nobody that was there even caught it. Like he didn't even know he said it. The other anchors didn't really catch it. The sound men didn't really catch it. It really didn't come out until after the fact. People had been listening to it over the weekend. Right. And was calling for his head, wanted blood. Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and trust him and say, hey,
I can get why they wanted blood, but I can also see how it was a genuine mistake also.
But 2019 is we're not letting people get away with it.
Huh?
We're not letting people get away with it in 2019, right?
But intentional shit, no. But Joe brings up a thing like a hot five starter podcast. Shout out, talks about not so much him. He's an older man. But I know Joe, Frank, you, me, all having young children. I got teenagers. Y'all have teenagers very soon here to come. And just like in this social media age, like where no one gets forgiven. They were talking about that. They've been talking about that over the last like 3 weeks, like how like we all, I didn't say homophobic shit. I didn't say fag. I didn't say bitch. I didn't say pussy liquor, cunt, hoe, slut. I didn't fucking looked at women who then, you fuck more than one nigga. Oh, you a hoe. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If that shit, if Twitter was out back then, if niggas had iPhones with the quick snappy Snapchat chat back then, we couldn't do this podcast. Mm-mm. You know what I'm saying? And but we have all been able to like grow and learn from our mistakes. So like the language we were using, the things we were saying, how we viewed women, other niggas was wrong. And as now the new word is problematic. Blah, blah, blah. I hate that word. Yeah. But now, like Joe was saying, like no one's allowed to have a mistake now.
Well, yeah, we talked about that on a couple episodes back, and I made it to the point that it's like, I mean, at what point, because like we're talking about me, like I can't, like, should the stuff that I say on this podcast, should it be viewed?
It's different because you're an adult.
Well, isn't this person an adult?
Huh?
I'm saying like it's just kind of like
that's why we're talking about you coming out saying something. It's not a Freudian slip of the tongue, which he did. You can't equate the two. You as 30-year-old Frank coming on this podcast and talking right now should not be viewed the same as my 14-year-old son on Snapchat saying something crazy. It's not equal. It's not the same.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. Like I think that was my argument of it is like if my employer uses whatever I put out for public consumption, I feel like that's not for me personally. I don't feel like that's going to be.
That's different. That's different. I mean, and I don't know if Joe or Anthony may not agree, but that's different than what I'm talking about.
Because like if I use the word like nigga or some shit like that. Like somebody,
but you're an adult male who already recognizes that it will be viewed as you not looking at you. You will not be viewed as African American. So an employer who might be a white male might say this is not a good thing. It's not the same as my 14-year-old child.
Oh, okay. I'm still talking about the meteorologist. My bad.
Well, no, but I tied it in to what Joe was saying, where no one like in this day and age, no one's forgiven. And I said it's even more dangerous for the youth because like we talked about it numerous times here, where these MLB athletes who of late happen to be these young white males who said some real crazy shit when they were 16, 17, 18 in high school, and here they are now 21, 22, and maybe now like one of my mentors, him, Sergeant Kramer, we talked about on the show before. One of my mentors growing up in the military was this small white man from mid-fucking Missouri who had Klan members in his family growing up, who he later came to like, I'm not going to associate with them because now that I've been in the military, I've been around black folks, I see all this shit that I was taught as a youth is wrong. But when I first met him, he still had some of that language. I met him very young in my military career. He still had some of that language. We was out somewhere one day, and he was like, "Hey, for a colored boy, you all right?" I almost put hands on him. He outranked me by many ranks. I almost fucked him up that night. But we talk about, like you were saying, Joe. In this day and age, no one's allowed to grow. No one's allowed to say, the way I was brought up, the way I was raised, the way I was taught. You're talking about a man who grew up with Klan members in his family.
Yeah.
That's a deep sickness right there. That's deep, 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 deep. And then he joined the military and he went to Germany. He went to all these other locations, Fort Knox, Fort Bliss, all these other places, got deployed. And of course, the military is filled with brown and black people. And he came to find out that everything I've been taught as a youth is all fucking lies.
All right.
But in this day and age, he would never be allowed that. Like, if he had been putting his thoughts on social media as an 18-year-old boy, they'd be like, no, fuck you, Sergeant Kramer. You said it's an 18. You can't grow up. You can't change. So I think it's very, very, what you said is very, very dangerous. It's very, very murky water that we're treading into.
Yeah.
But also, I try to teach my sons and my daughter, you can't put you can't. You shouldn't put all your thoughts on social media. Everything that comes to you, you shouldn't put out there, because it's going to be, if you get any amount of money at some point in time, it's going to be used against you.
Yeah, it's going to be scrutinized to that level, and that's what I guess. For me, I don't know, Joe. Correct me if I'm misunderstanding. Yeah, it was a slip. It was a slip up from this meteorologist. You know, social media went after him, right or wrong. And then, but the station took action, an employer took action, and they just didn't want to deal with the backlash. I mean, for me, I don't think that that's fair to the meteorologist, knowing, especially like if he's being genuine about the shit. But I mean,
this is a year. This is the day and age of everybody getting canceled. And if you ain't got enough pull or enough money, you're gonna get canceled, bro.
Yeah,
right.
So I guess, like, what are the final thoughts on that? We'll come back to you, Joe, on it. What are your final thoughts, Winston, on what do you think about, like, the whole meteorologist situation?
Like I said, man, I can see it both ways. I can see it as, especially after Joe broke it down, how you can have that slip of the tongue, especially if you're talking fast. And like I said, man, like, there's no, like, usually when people are just I'm gonna get on the air, blatant type of racist, there's usually somewhere something, some Facebook post, some Twitter post where they're like, "Oh, nah, you've been suspect ever since."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, and if it's a genuine mistake, genuine slip of the tongue, I'm talking too fast, I mixed up whatever King and whatever Junior and just blew right through it and didn't realize it, I feel sad for him. You know what I'm saying? Because of course, his family, you know, like, because like me being a meteorologist in a network, you're bringing home a decent check to your family, man. So that's fucked up. But see, it's fucked up. We in this day and age of everybody gets canceled immediately. I don't like that.
Yeah, Anthony, any final thoughts or comments on the meteorologist?
My only thought is, you know, yes, I kind of agree with everybody here on here that in the day and age of social media and, you know, the context of technology in general, you know, that mistakes or, you know, slip-ups are, you know, I guess being scrutinized heavily and used against you, you know, in anything you do, even, you know, in terms of success or whatever. So, you know, that's the only take I get from this story here.
Cool. Joe, any final thoughts or comments on the meteorologists or anything that related to it?
I don't know. It's we're living in some scary times.
Dark times, my nigga. Dark times.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I mean, what's unfortunate is the story this time last year was definitely brought on by real malice. We've had several comments that have been encouraged by our president and people who are supporters of our president that have had real malice to the point where, you know, people are super sensitive to it, and there is no room for error in this day and age. You have to be so precise in your thought, and so people who talk for a living, you get caught slipping, I mean, you run that risk. And so, I mean, just even like 10, 15 years ago, you know, if he'd have made that mistake, it probably wouldn't have been echoed throughout social media like it was. You know what I'm saying? He probably could have said it on the air, but it probably would have just dissipated as he moved on to the next sentence. And nobody would have even thought about it, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that we can record these things and play it back and run it back, you know, Roger didn't hear it, right? So he wanted to hear it a second time. You know what I'm saying? We can do that in this day and age.
Almost instantaneously, actually.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we have way more again, this is a situation where we have spent way more time talking about it than it took for him in that moment to make that slip. And so we can dissect it, 5 ways from Sunday. Right. But he just, like I said, he didn't even realize he had said anything until days after the fact, until it was a problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's I don't know. I don't know. I would like to be at the point where we could confront the real racists. You know what I'm saying? If he has some, like you said, some Freudian things that have been tucked into the back of his mind because he heard somebody tell a joke 20 years ago and that was the punchline. Yeah. And he may have even giggled at that stuff, but it ain't a part of his forethought, but it may be a part of his metacognition in the back of his mind or something like that. Mm-hmm. And something just slipped to the surface. That is something where, okay, hey, maybe that's something that needs to be addressed and maybe some talking, some counseling, that type of thing. But to jump straight to dismissal, man, I mean, that's a dangerous precedent that we set.
Mm-hmm. And I could agree with that with you on Joe. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That was fine.
No, I mean, I guess I'll put my 2 cents in. I agree with you on that. I think I agree with most of you. I mean, I see it more as a slip up, especially the more we dissect it, the more we break it down, the more we review it. I could see it as an honest slip up. But some of you guys have mentioned that you could tell that it was a slip up. He didn't realize that he said it until a couple days later or whatever, and he went back and addressed it. He nipped it in the butt when he did it. When he caught it, right? Right. But in this one, I think what I'm saying, just listening to it twice, and I'd have to go back and listen to it again a third time on my own. He stopped himself short of after he said the word. It's kind of like, and he had that slow pause, like, oh shit, what did I just do? You know what I'm saying? I could clearly hear that in that little pause after he said the word coon. I could see it. I mean, he was professional. He kept it professional, kept it moving, kept it going. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like on the second time that we heard it, he paused. It almost kind of like he realized what he had just said, and he kept it professional, kept it moving. Now to say that, I guess this was live on the air.
I don't know that he recognized what he said. He recognized that he didn't say king. So I don't know if that's the same thing. I don't know if recognizing that you said coon.
Well, I think he said the word coon. I don't know if
is the same as recognizing that what you meant to say was king and you didn't say king.
Okay.
He said it sounded like a noise. It wasn't even a word. It was a noise. That noise was coon. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I'm not even sure he recognized precisely what he said until days after the fact.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
no, it's that thing. It's that thing where you say something, like you're at work, you say something, and you realize, like
you pause.
I don't think I said the right thing, but I don't know what I said, and you pause. I don't think he thought he said coon, but he knew
But he didn't say king correctly.
Yeah, I knew I didn't say Martin Luther King Jr.
I would say this. I would say we're not going to agree on that, but I would say this. I don't think there was any ill will or malintent behind it. Even if he just said the word coon. You know what I mean? Because we're using the word coon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's where I was trying to say it. It's like so I'll say that. And then the other thing too is, Joe, I mean, I agree with you on it. It's a scary precedent and it's a slippery slope. We almost have to really, I know we put this stuff out for public consumption, but for people to judge me based on a snippet of an entire conversation and just say, oh yeah, you used the N-word or you call, somebody a faggot and this and that, you had, you know what I'm saying? And if for me to use that against me and firing me, when I didn't mean it the way it was supposed to be meant, you know what I mean?
But that's
scary. I mean, it is scary though.
That's different though, bro. It's.
I guess I don't. How is it different? Like if I say something out here, I don't know what my employer would say. I don't know what they would use. You know what I mean?
It's different to have you get tongue tied than to have a thought that you put out there that's not fully thought thought out. That's two different things,
Right,
bro.
but me explaining it that I was in a tongue tie, just like this gentleman did, he still got fired. His employer chose to fire him. You know what I mean?
I get he still got fired, but at the same, but at the same point in time, though, what I was saying earlier, though, it's like if you're out here putting your thoughts as an adult, you're still going to be beholden to that, right? We already discussed that.
I think the difference in the two situations is saying something intentionally, but maybe being taken out of context,
right?
Versus a flub where something was unintentionally said, but it sounded as if it was something that was malicious.
Right.
I think those are two different paradigms that shouldn't be conflated. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but in this case, it was a flub, and he ended up getting fired, though.
Yeah, I'm saying to you that is tragic. But what I'm saying to you, the paradigm you put out there, we're adults and we need to take responsibility for what we say. So if we say something with intent, even if it is taken out of context, maybe that's arguable. That the context was not.
But also,
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I'm not out here, gay bashing or slandering, but I don't know how somebody else is going to interpret it.
But no one on here said that he should get fired.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Also remember that though too, Pimp.
Yeah.
Now, if let's say the caveat is he's on some podcast somewhere, and he's saying Martin Luther the Coon Jr. Everybody says he should get fired, right?
Right. Yep. Most definitely.
It's totally different. It's totally different.
All right. It's totally different.
But yeah, but we already, like last year we talked about this when James was on here. We talked about the fact that if we're going to put something out that's for public consumption, that you have to be ready to defend what you say to any employer, to anybody who says I don't agree with what you're saying. We've already talked about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, we talked about that. I still don't think that it's because somebody could take whatever I say and misinterpret it. It may not necessarily be my employer. It may be somebody. It's just for example, like I talk about. I mentioned the black female at my job.
Like, can you defend the fact that all of a sudden you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan?
Yeah, but I'm saying like if I defend it though, but like I'm still at the mercy of my employer.
Can you defend that right now?
I know you're trying to go to the segue, but what I'm saying is
no segue. I'm just trying to figure out why you got the Kansas City Chiefs hat on.
I'm trying to figure out why you don't have anything on, but that's okay.
Oh, I wore all day at work.
Okay, anyhow, so what's up? But what I'm saying is,
I got pictures of my nigga. Hold on, let me show you how I clocked into work today.
But what I'm saying is like I'm still at the mercy of how my employer wants to, with the final decision, even after I make my case of like defending my remarks. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, it's a slippery slope. You know what I mean? In this case, I guess to most of us, it was clear that it was a flub. And it was unfortunate that he was still fired, even after handling it and apologizing it, right away as soon as he, got it. So, but I mean, yeah.
Hey Frank, when you went to work today,
I like how you have to defend yourself, but
hey Frank, when you went to work today, were you wearing a Chiefs hat?
But you're not wearing it now. You're not wearing it now, so you only wear it because you're at work.
Oh, because I'm in public. That's when I wear it. Not in the privacy of my basement.
Okay.
In public, I support the Chiefs. Not in the privacy of my basement.
Okay.
Right. Totally different. When you a closet ass fan, nigga.
I'm a bandwagon. I'm a bandwagon. No, I'm not a closet fan.
But when you a real fan, you wear that shit to work.
No, I know the difference between real fans and closet fans. I'm a bandwagoner. I'm no shame in my game. I'm a bandwagoner.
Ain't no room for you on the wagon, nigga. We can kick you off a long time.
No, it is.
Here's the question. Here's the real question. Are we going to be able to wear our Chiefs apparel on Monday?
I am. Because I'm a bandwagon.
Hey, nigga, where your Florida State Evergreen shoes at, nigga? Are they in the closet now?
They behind his K-State stuff.
Don't worry. Don't worry about it. We're gonna take number 13. Gonna take it to Duke, dog. They're gonna take it to Duke tomorrow, baby. Saturday, dog.
Where are the Florida State Evergreen shoes at, nigga? Where they at? Did you?
I don't have the Evergreens. I have to go look it up to see if they even make them though. But that's gonna be on my shopping list.
No, with the shoes you had before Joe and all them got on, and you was flashing the shoes, nigga. Where they at?
What you talking about? My Florida State Nike shoes?
You know what I'm talking about.
The maroon? Yeah, they're upstairs, dog. They're upstairs. I got on these Crocs, dog. I wear them Crocs, dog. I wear them Crocs.
Upstairs where, nigga? In the fucking basement, nigga?
Yeah, I wear them Crocs in here, dog. These are my house shoes, dog.